Hello and welcome to Email for Everyone. I'm Suzanne Shem. When people talk about the mail, this is what they're usually referring to, the letters that are picked up and delivered by the post office. But today, millions of people have discovered a different kind of mail service that's changing the way the world communicates. It's called email. That's short for electronic mail, the mail people are sending and receiving through their computers. People are sending electronic mail from one home to another home, from one business to another business, from one country to another country. Email for Everyone will give you a step-by-step guide to using email. Everything you need to know to send people virtually any information you want. Here's an example. Let's say you're a parent with a son in college and you both have computers. You can use email to send him a personal note or letter like this one. Hi, Michael. Great job on the grades this semester. When you get a little more experienced, you can also use email to send your son a newspaper article you want to share with him. You can also send a voice message.
Happy birthday, dear Michael. Happy birthday to you.
And you know he'll love a video from his sister.
Hi, Mike. I really missed you. Look, I lost a tooth.
The short video clip, your voice message, the newspaper article, and your written message can all be delivered for just a few pennies in just a few minutes using email. Before we show you how it's done, here's why email is becoming so popular. Email, because of the variety of content it can transport, reminds us of traditional mail services, but it actually has more in common with the telephone. Like the phone, email is quick and convenient. It doesn't require any paper. It uses telephone wires to deliver your correspondence, and you're charged for the amount of time it takes to relay your messages. To use email, you get a simple modem that connects your computer to your telephone line. Computer processing and other factors can slow down the delivery of email. But often, email is, in fact, nearly instantaneous. It can get to its destination within just a few seconds or minutes, even if it's going to another state or another country. For many users, the best part about email is its cost. It's often the cheapest way to communicate with someone long distance. Why is email inexpensive? Well, a key factor is with email, distance doesn't matter. Unlike a phone call or a fax. When you send a fax, it's the same as making a telephone call. The further away, if it's in Europe, the more you pay. When you use email, there are no long-distance charges. It costs the same to send an email across the country as it does to send it across the hall. The speed and cost of email are two of its biggest advantages. But there are other important reasons email is becoming so popular. Let's compare it again to a fax machine. With email, I can send you the draft of a book, ask you to make changes in it, and then you send it back to me. Email can be revised, but a fax cannot. That's because when you get a fax, what you're getting is a picture, an image of your document, unlike an email, which is a series of digital characters that you can edit with your computer. Another big plus with email is convenience. It's available whenever you want it. To a lot of users, the power of email is getting a letter or message any time of the day, any day of the week, including Sundays and government holidays, even when you're traveling. In a few minutes, our instructor, Jessie Moore, will go through the email process one step at a time. First, here's Jessie with a summary of the lessons you're about to receive on Email for Everyone.
Thanks, Suzanne. You know, email has actually been around for a while, since the early 1970s. What's new is that email programs are now much easier to use and obtain. Even young children and adults with very little computer experience can learn how to send email messages. In addition to letters, you're going to see how email can deliver your photographs, voice messages, and videos. It all starts with the ability to send simple written messages, and that's where we'll begin. In our first lesson, I'll teach you the email basics. You'll learn to create, send, and receive written email messages. In our second lesson, you'll learn how to manage and organize your email. You'll see how to use the electronic address books that come with many email programs. In lesson number 3, I'll show you the extra things you can send with email, including your pictures, sound, and moving video. In the process, you'll learn how to use some of the multimedia features of your computer. You'll want to have some familiarity with your computer's operating system. For instance, you should know how to open and close programs, create files, and use a mouse. Now that's a quick summary of the lessons just ahead on Email for Everyone. Suzanne?
Thanks, Jesse. Before you can use email, you need to know what products and services to buy. That's easy if you have one of the newer computers that are being sold in the stores today. Many of today's home computers come standard with modems. They have the speakers, microphones, and internal components that enable your system to play and record sound and display pictures, including video. They also have the speed, memory, and hard disk space you may want to create and send multimedia files. If you just want to use email to exchange written messages, many of the older Macs and PCs will do just fine. You could install an internal or external modem yourself. Internal modems, which need to be inserted inside your machine, can be tricky to install, but it's not difficult to attach an external modem to your computer and connect it to your telephone line. Are you ready to begin? You may want to grab a pen and paper or turn on your computer to take notes. Coming up next, Email for Everyone, Lesson 1.
Hello again. In our first lesson, we're going to cover everything you need to know to start exchanging written email messages. These are the topics included in Lesson 1. Getting connected, composing messages, sending messages, opening your mail, forwarding messages, and replying to messages. Let's move on to our first topic, getting connected. The first thing we're going to do is show you how to open an account with a company that will connect you to that global network of computers called the Internet. Unlike the closed computer networks many businesses use to exchange email, the Internet is open and available to everyone. Getting an Internet email address will allow you to send email to millions of people in more than 100 countries, just about every country on the planet. Lots of companies are now offering Internet access. These companies are commonly called Internet service providers. Some providers connect you directly to the Internet. This group includes the companies you may be using for telephone service. Other providers, often referred to as commercial online services, offer memberships to their own computer networks, which provide an array of information services in addition to Internet access. Many of today's home computers come bundled with pre-installed software from online services. There are hundreds of Internet service providers to choose from. Choosing a service is important because the service can control the choice of email program you'll get. Some services let you add any email program you want. Online services typically come with their own email program that can't be replaced. But they also come with other resources you may appreciate. Other factors to consider are cost and your level of computer experience. When you decide which service is best for you, you just call them up and they'll send you the software you'll need to get started. Before you make any purchases or attempt to install any software, you should check the system requirements. The procedures for signing up for a service vary from one company to another. But this is often how it works. You load the software and follow the instructions displayed on your screen to set up your account. You'll notice spaces where you're supposed to enter your name and other information the company needs for billing purposes. Just fill in the blanks. You'll probably be asked for a credit card number so the service can be charged to your card. Your software will probably try to detect the type of modem you're using. If it doesn't detect your modem and you don't know what it is, call your service. You may be advised to enter the name of a compatible modem. At some point during the setup process, you'll need to choose a local access number. This is a phone number your modem will dial to hook you up to your service, which in turn is linked to the internet. Your service provider will let you choose among local access numbers in your area, so you won't have to pay long-distance telephone charges when you use email. If you have to make a toll call to dial the local access number nearest you, you may want to talk to your telephone company. It might be cheaper to change your telephone service than to make a toll call every time you use email. Also, you'll be given an internet email address, the address you give out to anyone you want to correspond with using email over the internet. The email address consists of two parts, separated by the @ symbol. The first part is the user name or user ID. Some services call it a screen name or login name. This part of the address identifies who you are. The second part is the electronic address of your service. Some companies let you choose your own user ID. Often, people pick their real name or a nickname. You'll also be prompted to type in a password that you'll use when you connect to your service. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You'll notice that new program icons and files have been added to your system. Before you start composing messages, it's a good idea to connect to your service at least once to make sure you're all set. Now, you're ready to send email. By the way, if you have an external modem, remember to turn it on when you want to use email. The computer we're using has an internal modem that turns on automatically. Many services offer unlimited access for a flat monthly rate, in which case the amount of time you spend tying up your phone line might not matter to you. Otherwise, when you're online, you want to be mindful of the time and don't forget that you're online. After you sign on to your service, every second counts as connect time billed against your account. To save money, these customers will want to compose their messages offline. In other words, without being connected to their service. Many services allow you to prepare email messages offline. That's what I'm going to do in today's demonstration. To compose an email message, first we're going to open our program. For now, I'm going to ignore the window prompting me to connect to my service. As you can see, today's email programs contain the user-friendly features you find on many other kinds of computer programs, such as pull-down menus and toolbars. Now, let's find and click on the command that allows us to write an email message. Depending on the software you use, you'll find this option in a pull-down menu or a toolbar, or it could be an icon prominently displayed on your screen. It will probably say Compose Mail, Write Mail, New Message, or your program might label it Send Mail. Different programs use different names for this command, but they all do the same thing. They give you a page with spaces to fill in. Sometimes these spaces are called windows or fields. First, I'm going to address my message. Here's the To field. That's where you enter the email address of the recipient. You have to type it very carefully. Unlike the U.S. Postal Service, the internet can't decipher mail that's addressed incorrectly. In this example, I'm sending a message to my sister Jean in New York. As the sender, you usually don't need to type in your own email address. Your program will add it to your message automatically. Now, this is the CC field. That stands for carbon copy or complementary copy. This is where you'd enter the name of someone who's not the primary recipient of your message. Another important space is the subject field. Now, I want to ask my sister to send me her recipe for poppy seed cake. So for the subject, I'm going to put poppy seed cake. You type your message in the message body. That's this large window right here. So in my message, I'll type, Jean, please send me that recipe for poppy seed cake. We loved it. Jesse. My message is addressed, written, and ready to go. Now that I've addressed and composed my message, I'm going to connect to my service. This is often called logging in or signing on. Follow whatever login procedure your service requires, such as entering your password. You have to let the modem dial. Don't be surprised if occasionally you can't connect to your service. It may be experiencing problems with heavy volume or other technical difficulties. Sometimes you need to wait a while and try to connect again later. Well, here we go. I am now connected to my service. Now we want to look in our email program for the option that transmits our message. As you might expect, that command will say send, or it may say deliver. Again, this option might be represented by an icon, toolbar button, or menu item. Just use your mouse to pick the option. Remember what I said about being mindful of the time. Now that the message is sent, I'm going to disconnect from my service. It's like hanging up the phone when you're finished with a phone call. To receive your email, you also have to be connected to your service. So I'm going to log in again. Some programs will start downloading your messages automatically as soon as you sign on. With other programs, you'll need to click the command that tells your service to send you your email. Different programs have different names for this command, such as check mail, open mail, read mail, get mail, or deliver now. Let's click the command to receive our mail. Here's the message I was expecting, the recipe from Jean. Now, some services let you read your email offline. That's another way you can save money if you don't have unlimited access. You disconnect from your service right after your mail arrives. Now, there are several things I can do with this fabulous recipe besides bake the cake. First, I'm going to share it with a friend. You can forward a message when the message is open or the summary line is highlighted. Click on the forward option and look what happens. The to field is cleared for you to enter another email address to send the same message to another party. Now I want to forward the cake recipe to my friend Chris in California, so I'll enter her address in the to field. Notice the subject is already entered for me. With some programs, you just fill in the message field with any new comments you want to add to the original message. You might not see the original message, but it's there waiting to be forwarded. Other programs display the original message, permitting you to add comments before, following, or actually within the original message. Select the Send option when you're ready to forward your mail. Now, when you receive an email message, email programs also give you the option to respond. Replying to an email is just as easy as composing a new message, actually even easier. To reply to an email, first open the message you're responding to or highlight the message summary line. Click on the Reply option. You'll get the same page or windows you use to address and compose a message. But look at what's different. This time, the To field is already filled in. When you reply to someone, that person's email address is automatically placed in the To field, which saves you from having to look it up and type it. The Subject field is also filled in for you, showing the subject originally entered by your correspondent. When you reply to an email, some programs will also show you the original message and include it in your reply. Just click the Send option to deliver your reply. If you only send 1 or 2 messages a day, and your monthly payment plan includes a few hours of free connect time, that's probably more time than you'll ever need for email. But sooner or later, you might start using email a lot, and you might be connecting to the internet for other reasons. here's a way you can save on connect time when you're spending more time online. Instead of logging in and logging off to send each email message individually, some programs let you queue up your messages and hold them in your outbox or folder so you can transmit a bunch of messages in one online session. You wouldn't make separate trips to the post office to mail each piece of paper mail. You can look at email in the same way. Sending several messages at once saves time, money, and effort. When you're finished with each message, select a command that says queue, send later, deferred delivery, or some title to that effect. When you've accumulated all the messages you plan to write for a while, that's when you connect to your service and send your email. Okay, we've accomplished a lot so far. We opened an account with an internet service provider. We composed an email message, sent an email message, forwarded and replied to the message. We still have some decisions to make. Do we want to save the message? Where do we keep it in our computer so we can find it? Or mail it again at another time? There are various ways to organize your messages and all those email addresses people will be giving you. Which brings us to Lesson 2, Email Management. When you start using email, it might not be long before your electronic mailbox overflows with messages. Fortunately, your email program is designed to deal with this situation. It's like having a personal secretary who handles numerous tasks at your request, sorting, filing, and otherwise disposing of your correspondence. Lesson 2 will teach you to use the common management features of email programs. These are the topics we're covering: mailboxes and folders, deleting messages, printing messages, saving messages, editing messages, and email address books. When somebody sends you an email message, your service holds it until you sign on, or your email program asks for your messages. When your service sends your mail to your computer, this process is called downloading your email. The place where it lands is sometimes called your inbox. Different programs call it different names: a box, a file, a folder. Like the inbox that holds a pile of mail on your desk at the office, this is where your new email accumulates. When you open it, you'll see a list of your incoming mail. You can open whatever message you want by clicking the one-line summary of the message. The summary often tells you the name of the sender, the subject of the message, and when the message was sent. Just as the incoming mail goes to an inbox, as you might expect, your outgoing mail goes to an outbox of some kind. It might say out, sent, check the mail you sent, or something to that effect. Here's where you'll find saved or queued up messages that are waiting for delivery. Often, such mailboxes or folders are also used to keep copies of the messages you sent. In case a message is lost, you can use your copy to send it again. Some services give you a few days to clean out these central mail storage spaces. Then they toss the old mail out. With other email programs, your messages remain in the boxes or folders until you delete them or move them to another place. Either way, it's a good idea to dispose of your mail shortly after you receive it or send it. Email is just like paper mail in some respects. If you don't go through it regularly, it can pile up and get difficult to manage. If you want to discard the message, that's easy. With the message summary highlighted or with the message open, click on an icon or button that says Trash or Delete, or select the Delete option in a pull-down menu. Your email program might keep your trash as a separate mailbox or folder. The mail sent to the trash isn't deleted until you give the command to empty the trash. If you're just learning how to use computers, or if you simply want to keep paper copies of your correspondence, You can always print your email, assuming, of course, you have a printer connected to your computer. We have yet to come across an email program that doesn't let you print your messages. Chances are your program has a button or an icon that looks like a printer. That's the one. As with other commands, you'll also usually find the option to print in a pull-down menu. Of course, you don't need to save your messages on paper. Depending on the email program you use, it might include a few or many file management features. In addition to your central inbox and outbox, with some programs you can create as many boxes or folders as you want and keep your messages nicely organized in the appropriate places. For instance, I can create a mailbox or folder called Friends. I could also create a mailbox or folder that holds mail from my boss, another one for messages from my family, and so forth. College students increasingly are using email to communicate with their professors, so they might set up mailboxes or folders for each course that they're taking. As you can imagine, businesses have many uses for this feature to organize memos, reports, newsletters, and other types of office correspondence delivered through email. With some programs, you can use your mouse to drag a message and drop it into a box or folder. Here's an example. This is a message from a travel agent with ticket information for a flight to Mexico. Here's another message confirming hotel reservations. I want to transfer both messages from my inbox to a mailbox called Mexico Trip. I simply click on the message summary line and keep the mouse button depressed while moving my cursor and dragging the message over to the Mexico mailbox. When I release the mouse, the message drops into the mailbox. I repeat the same procedure with the second message. That's all there is to it. Some programs will even sort your mail automatically according to your instructions. So your messages will go immediately into the appropriate mailbox or folder. This kind of automatic sorting is sometimes called filtering. Now, if your email program doesn't have its own filing system, you can save your messages on your hard drive or on a floppy disk. With your email message highlighted or open, go to the pull-down menu that says File. It's usually the first menu. Click on the command that says Save As. If your program doesn't have the Save As command, try choosing Save instead. You'll get a window that lets you navigate through the directory structure of your computer, through your drives, folders, and files. Select the folder where you think the message belongs, as you would when saving other computer documents. What you're doing is saving your message as a regular text file. So, did you see what I just did? I put my cake recipe into an existing folder that held a collection of recipes. I can now open the file with a word processing program or text editor. Suppose you want to save some messages, but you're not sure where to file them. You could create a folder called My Mail and put your messages there. It's always a good idea to save and organize your messages, either in your email program or elsewhere on your computer, so you don't have problems finding them when you need them again. However, if you do forget where you put a message, some email programs can assist you with your search. Look in your pull-down menus for a search command. If you have this option, it will probably say Find or Search. Enter the name of the sender or subject of the message you're looking for, and the email program will find it for you. Regardless of the features of your email program, all email messages have something in common that makes email a powerful tool for writers, editors, teachers, researchers, anyone who works with text. All email messages are written in the digital language of computers, which means you can use your computer to edit your messages. When you select the reply or the forward option, remember what I showed you in Lesson 1? Some email programs put the original message in the new message page. Well, now you're able to edit any text on this page, including the original message. Not all email programs feature editing options, but you can still save your messages as text files and work with them in your word processing program. You can also copy any part of a message and paste it into a file that you can edit. If you use a word processing program, you're already familiar with the copy and paste features. Email programs also give you these commands, so you can copy text from your email program and place it into a word processing file. Likewise, you can copy text from a word processing file and paste that into your email program. So you can edit, save, and sort your email messages in various ways. Now, of course, you'll also want to save the email addresses of your correspondents. That's why most email programs come with an electronic address book. Email address books do the same thing that paper address books do: save people's names and addresses. But unlike the paper variety, these address books also respond to your commands. You'll see what I mean in a moment. First, let's save some email addresses. To open your email address book, you'll click on an icon or command that says Address or Address Book or a similar name. To add an entry, you click an option that will say something like New or Create or Add User. Then you fill in the person's real name and his or her email address. Some address books also give you spaces to save other information, such as the person's home or office address and telephone numbers. Address books can also be used to address messages. First, select the name of the person in your address book. When you click on the To button, look what happens. You get a page to compose a message to that person, with the person's name or email address already filled in. So when people give you their email addresses, you should consider saving them in your electronic address book. You'll never have to retype the addresses, which can be hard to remember. So you can use email address books to save names and addresses, and you can use them to address your email messages. But that's not all. You can also use your address book to send a message to a group of people. Suppose you're planning a family reunion and you want to send a message to all your relatives. You put everyone on a list in the address book and give that list a name. We'll call it Family Reunion. When you address your email to Family Reunion, everybody on the list gets it. There's no need to send your message to each person individually. You can create separate mailing lists for friends, business associates, golf partners, church members, any group you want. Depending on your email program, you can add dozens or hundreds of names to a single mailing list in your address book. With a click of your mouse, you can distribute an email to an entire list of people for little more than the cost of sending a message to one person. Millions of email messages are being exchanged through homes and offices every day. Most email consists of simple written notes and letters. But computers today make it easy to create a variety of information, not just written text. And the email programs increasingly are facilitating the exchange of these non-text files. Want to send a photograph to everyone on your family mailing list? It's easier than you think. We'll create and send some multimedia files coming up in Lesson 3. Before we get to the fancy stuff, let's observe something important about the written messages we've seen so far. Did you notice the words had absolutely no formatting? By that I mean there's no bold-faced, italicized, underlined, or enlarged words. It's just pure and simple text. This type of message is often called ASCII or ASCII text. Formatted text, sound, and pictures, and other kinds of data are often known by another name, binary files. ASCII is the language that nearly all computers understand. That's why you can send plain text messages between Macs and PCs and dissimilar email programs. Now, some programs let you make big, bold, and colorful statements. But look what happened when we sent this message to someone with a different email program. The formatting was lost. All that's left is simple ASCII. Email was initially developed to handle only ASCII messages. Formatted text and other binary files may require special handling. Often they are treated separately as attachments. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to attach files to your email messages. These are the topics we're covering: attaching files, receiving attachments, things you should know about picture files, audio files, and video files. To attach any file, open the Compose Mail page of your email program. Programs that support attachments will have an icon, toolbar button, or menu command that says Attach or Enclose. For this demonstration, I'm going to attach a resume from a construction manager. First, I'll address and compose my message. When I'm finished, I'll choose the Attach option. Here's the same window we saw in Lesson 2, the one that lets you find the programs and files in your computer. I'm clicking through the folders to find David's resume. Select the document and it instantly becomes attached to my message. To send the message and its attachment, choose the Send or Deliver option, just as you would a regular email message. Now, let's get on the receiving end to see what happens when the resume arrives. First, a word of caution if you receive attachments. Attachments are files, and as such, they're capable of carrying viruses, which can erase information and cause other damage to your computer. Don't open attachments from strangers without inquiring about them first. If you need to regularly accept attachments from people you don't know, you should consider getting an antivirus program. Now, if someone sends you an attachment, your email program has a way of telling you. The message summary line may have a little icon, and the message itself will show the file name or an icon. Some programs will automatically download attachments to your hard drive when you get your mail. Others will give you the message first and let you decide whether to download a file. When an attachment is transferred, often email programs will send it to the Programs folder. That's the folder that was created when your software was installed. Some programs allow you to change the default setting so that you can choose a different place where your attachments should arrive. Remember earlier I suggested creating a folder called My Mail to keep messages on your hard drive? Well, you can also use it to store attachments. That's what I did. So the attachments we received during this lesson will go directly to this folder. As the file is downloaded, you may see a bar showing the progress of the transfer. Some programs announce when the task is finished.
File's done.
Now, let's see if David's resume landed in the folder called My Mail. Here it is. Since I have the same program that was used to create this resume, when I click on the file name, that program is automatically launched and the file is opened. But suppose another recipient of David's resume doesn't have a program that can read his word processing document. How will it be opened? That's when things can get tricky. Fortunately, with written documents, the solution is pretty simple. David could send his document as an ASCII file, or another format that's widely accepted by computers called rich text. Most word processing programs or text editors will let you save files in these formats. Now, here's how you can convert your word processing documents into ASCII or rich text files. Open the file that you want to send as an attachment. Go to the File pull-down menu and select the option that says Save As. Once again, here's that window that lets us find all our programs and files. Now, if you use a word processing program, you're probably accustomed to saving your files in the proprietary format of that program. Look closely at this window and you'll see a bar that shows the proprietary format of this word processing program. Click the arrow to the right and you'll see the list of other formats this program supports. If you see the word text on the list, that's ASCII. Some programs will call it ASCII. Others will call it text or text only. This choice would allow David's resume to be read by any recipient. But ASCII converts the file to a bare-bones document with no formatting. There is a way to preserve the formatting. David could keep his bold headings by saving his resume in a rich text format, or RTF. As a rich text file, David's prospective employers should be able to see the resume just as we are seeing it right now, even though they might have different word processing programs and computers. As we experiment with different types of files, you'll learn other ways you can avoid or resolve problems with attachments. Let's look at another type of file right now, a digital photograph. Do you like to share photographs with your friends and family? Well, if you use email to send the pictures, you might get a reply like the one we received from a friend in Pennsylvania who said, "Hey, that came through really clear. How did you do that? Cool." That's from Charlie writing to us from Harrisburg. To answer his question, there are several ways you can put photographs on your computer. You can use digital cameras, scanners, or just do what we did. Visit the place that develops your regular film. For just a few extra dollars, lots of film developers will put your photos on a disc. When you load the disc, you end up with a fun program that lets you manipulate your pictures in various ways. For instance, you can add titles, create a digital photo album, and maybe even crop your pictures. These programs also let you export the images so you can add them to word processing documents, spreadsheets, or graphics files. Select the option that says Export, and guess what you get? That familiar window that lets you search through your folders. Choose the folder where you want to save the picture, and the photo is now a file, which means you can send it to anyone through email. To deliver this photograph to our friend Charlie, we sent it as an attachment. We composed a message, chose the option that says Attach, selected the picture file, and sent it on its way. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when attachments are downloaded, they usually land in a folder on your hard drive. But some email users don't have to search their hard drives to open an attachment. Their programs can open certain files from within the message body. You just wait for the transfer to finish and then, surprise, the contents of the file appear before you. Other email programs handle this procedure a little differently. After the file is transferred, you'll see an icon, the file name, or some other type of notice at the end of the email message. Click on the icon and your program unwraps the attachment for you. Picture files, just like word processing files, come in many different formats. Success with attachments depends in large part on your computer's ability to interpret these formats. The picture we sent Charlie was saved in a common format called bitmap, which you can identify by the three-letter extension BMP. Several Microsoft programs, including word processing and graphics programs, can open bitmap files. There are also many programs for the Macintosh that create and open picture files, including PICT, TIFF, GIF, JPEG, and other common image files. Here's a tip. When you sign up for a service, you might get software that installs what's called a web browser. Many people use these browsers to explore the World Wide Web on the internet. Well, some of the browsers can also be used to view picture files, and you don't need to be online to do it. If your email correspondent can't seem to open your picture file, no matter what program he uses, you can try changing the format and sending the picture again. The program you get when you purchase a disk of photos might give you several different formats to choose from. You'll see the choices available to you when you select the command to export your photos. Ask your correspondent if she knows what formats her computer can read. It might be on your list. If that doesn't work, you can always get new software. There are many programs available for both PCs and Macs that allow you to view or convert just about any type of file. Sending and opening attachments might take some extra thought, but there are rewards for trying, especially if you're viewing photographs on a new computer. Today's home computers are built to display pictures. The clarity and overall quality is better than ever. These machines, as you may have noticed, are also wired for sound, another reason you'll enjoy using email. Many computers today have built-in sound capabilities. If your computer came with speakers and a microphone, that's a pretty strong hint that your computer can play and record sound. If you have a Macintosh, you may have an Apple program that records and plays audio files. One such program is called Simple Sound. If you have Microsoft Windows, you can use a program called Sound Recorder. Typically, these programs work the same way. They give you controls that look like buttons on a tape recorder, which you use to record, play, forward, and rewind your sound. A key difference, of course, between these programs and a regular tape recorder is that the sound you control with your computer is a digital file. Happily, that means that you can attach it to an email message. On New Year's Eve, for instance.
Hi, this is Jerry from Galway. Happy New Year. Have a great time. Happy New Year.
And who knows what kind of email the next year might bring. If you want to send your audio clip to someone as an attachment, first remember to save it as a file. Go to the File menu, select Save or Save As, and choose the folder where you want to save it. Now, the audio file we just created was in a format called WAV, a common format that many programs can open. If your computer doesn't understand a sound file you receive, once again, as we've shown you with picture files, these are your options. See if a different program will open the file, or see if you or your correspondent can change the file's format into one your computer can interpret. If you enjoy sending picture files and sound clips, you might want to graduate to the next step, sending video. Today's generation of computers comes with many multimedia features, including software that can play digital movies, animation, and other video files. Now you can even record your own digital videos using your home computer. Imagine checking your email and getting a message like this from your son.
Hi, Dad. I just wanted to remind you that you have to pick up the team and drive us to Dover for the baseball game tonight. Well, see you when you get home.
10-year-old Michael Zattoli recorded this video with the QuickCam, a little camera made by a company called Connectix. The QuickCam is easy to install, just plugs into the back of your computer. To record a video of yourself, you sit the little camera on top of your monitor, open the software that comes with it, and there you are, on camera. Adjust the brightness, contrast, and other settings if you want. Then press the record button and begin. Thanks for sharing your video, Michael. That was awesome. Click End when you're finished. Your computer's microphone picks up the audio and the speakers play back the sound. If you don't have a mic or speakers, you can purchase them separately. Before you do, make sure your computer has a sound card. That's a component that needs to be installed inside your machine. To view your movie, you switch from the preview window to the playback window and press the play button. Thanks for sharing your video, Michael. That was awesome. To send one of your homemade videos as an attachment, you follow the same procedure for sending any attachment. First, save it as a file, compose an email message, select the Attach option, attach the file, and press Send or Deliver. To view your QuickCam video, your correspondent doesn't need the camera. Your email program might be able to play the file. Even if it doesn't, there are many other programs that can do so. Here's how Michael's movie looks when we insert the file into the word processing program Microsoft Word.
Hi, Dad. I just wanted to remind you that you have to pick up the team and drive us to Dover for the baseball game tonight. Well, see you when you get home.
Now, some important things to keep in mind about sending video files. Your service may place limits on the size of your attachments. Even 10-second video files are considered large by email standards and will take a while to upload and download, possibly at a cost to you and the recipient, depending upon your pricing plan with your service. These files can also take up lots of disk space on your computer. If you're worried about disk space, you should empty your attachments folder from time to time. To avoid problems or complaints, it's best to keep your video clips short for email. That goes for sound files too. More experienced users can try compressing large data files. Any file, whether it's a movie or the contents of a book, can be condensed into a smaller size using a compression program. You'll find compression software in computer stores and on the internet. The QuickCam also comes with compression options. So, email sure has come a long way since the first ASCII messages were transmitted. How is it possible, you may wonder, for email to transmit pictures, sound, and video when it was developed to handle only ASCII? The answer lies buried in the email header, that bunch of techie-looking information that you usually ignore when you get an email message. When someone sends you a binary file, you may notice the word MIME in the header. That's a modern encoding standard many email programs are using. MIME translates your binary files into ASCII for transport through email, then back to binary following delivery. If all goes smoothly, your files arrive intact. If your attachments come out looking like gibberish to the receiver, it could mean that your email programs are using different encoding methods. Your program may offer alternatives to MIME. Refer to your manual or check with your service for assistance. Well, that's all the time that we have. Goodbye and good luck using email.
Thanks, Jesse. If you're like a lot of people, when you start using email, you'll be checking it every day with the same sense of hope and excitement that you feel when your postal mail arrives. Everyone loves getting mail. We hope you've enjoyed our lessons and soon will enjoy getting email. If you want to send us your comments about this program, send your email message to this address. We'll try to reply to as many messages as we can. Until then, happy emailing, and thanks for watching.